I'll talk to two things. So last night, our Vaccine Safety Investigation Group, which is an external group of experts, including blood clotting experts, met to look at a second possible case of this rare condition of thrombosis with thrombocytopenia. And it confirmed that this case, which occurred in a woman in her 40s, vaccinated in Western Australia, did fit the criteria. So we have a second confirmed case. The good news is, and I want to avoid getting into too much detail because of personal privacy issues, she is in a stable condition, and the outlook looks pretty good. So the committee looked at the case, all the information on the case. It was one that took a while to sort out because some of the initial imaging was a bit ambiguous and some of the blood tests were redone to confirm the results. But it did confirm that we had a second case of this syndrome, which we call thrombosis, clotting, with thrombocytopenia, which is a shortage, a very low level of platelets, and that's what's unusual about this condition. Now, just to put this in perspective, I think it is administered over 1.2 million now.
Correct.
Doses of vaccine, 700,000 or more have been AstraZeneca, I should say. That means 2 out of 700,000 is 1 in 350,000. And when you look at the British data, which quoted about 1 in 200, 1 in 250,000, we're down at these things. And that's an extremely remote and unlikely event. It's a very rare finding. As I've said before, your chances of winning Lotto are much higher. So, but it does encourage, and we are saying to doctors, hospitals and so forth, if you have any suspicious cases, report them to us. We have a team of doctors and other specialists who will look into it. Again, the Minister has emphasised the importance of vaccinating groups over 50 and the ATAGI advice. And just to put that advice in perspective, the sad announcement of a 910th death in Australia, the first one confirmed this calendar year, even though we're into mid-April. Of those deaths, every single death except for 5 people were in people aged 50 and over, 99.5%. And that's why the importance of vaccination in that group is so important. Now, because of a respiratory condition, I happen to be in the Group 1B group, and I had my AstraZeneca vaccination last week, being aware of that risk. But I also knew I wasn't going to win a Lotto last week. So I figured a 1 in 350,000 chance was a pretty good chance to take, and I'm glad I did. Just before I finish, one other thing which will provide a bit of greater flexibility is that after testing and submission of data to us, we have approved for the Pfizer vaccine to be able to be stored for up to 2 weeks in normal domestic freezer temperatures. But it doesn't mean it can spend its whole time in Australia. It still requires that ultra cold storage for the longer periods. But it does mean that, for example, a shipment could be made from Sydney to Broken Hill or other places like that at normal freezer temperatures. And we also approved shorter periods of time, but accept all periods of time at refrigerator temperatures. So while that vaccine does have particular storage requirements, the good news is that we have more flexibility than we thought we had with how it can be stored and transported.